I'm gonna try to keep this one a little short for you guys. Kind of in a weird recording area, I do realize that. But the New York Giants just finished their Week 1 game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I have quite a bit of thoughts on it. I'm thinking of doing sort of like an instant reaction, instant thoughts for all 16 games of the Giants. Um, but we'll have to see whether or not I commit to that. This game was obviously disappointing. There is no really other way to put it. I will say there were some bright spots, or at least some stuff that maybe defied my expectations in a positive way. The first would be generally the defense. By the end, it definitely slowed down and tired down, but I was sort of impressed with how the defensive line played, especially in the first 3 quarters. Um, James Bradbury looked awesome throughout almost the entire game. Made a couple really good plays, so I'm really happy with that pickup. Blake Martinez also had a couple really good tackles that I eyed. Even Williams had a lot of good run stoppages and even a sack. So our defense definitely seems to be trending upward, especially for a Week 1 defense. So I'm a little optimistic there, which is the aspect I expected to be least optimistic about. But the offense was truly the disappointing factor in this. But I can't say I was too disappointed. I knew our offensive line was young and going to struggle, but I didn't think they were going to be that bad. I mean, I expected them to be below average, but they, I mean, that may be the worst offensive line performance I've seen in years, and that's years and years of bad offensive line performances. But don't get me wrong, the Steelers have a monster defense. They are nothing to scoff at. They have an incredible defensive line, and all the credit to them. Really good defense, so I got to give it to them. They just outplayed our offensive line. But I feel like the key encapsulating negative factor that would describe this game for the New York Giants would be missed opportunities. Absolutely missed opportunities. Early on in the game, you have a muffed punt gifted to you right in the red zone, and the best you can get off is a field goal. That's a little bit disappointing. Evan Ingram was the king of missed opportunities, whether it be dropping catches, whether it be finally catching something and then doing an unnecessarily offensive pass interference. Quite a bit there, but I think what encapsulates it is the 97-yard, I believe it was 19 play drive, all the way down to the other side of the field, and you have Daniel Jones just a boneheaded move, throws an interception, ends that drive, and I think basically ends our game. You get a touchdown out of that, and maybe you inspire your defense, you can stand up, but that just killed every momentum. And that was another thing the Giants had such a hard time maintaining. I guess that comes with missed opportunities, is momentum. It felt like the first drive, even though they didn't score anything, they had some momentum going, and like that 97-yard drive had momentum, but outside of that, they really couldn't establish any momentum. I mean, Darius Slayton, I'm not even including the second touchdown because that was technically in garbage time, but the first touchdown was this big play, and that was awesome, but we couldn't really establish a momentum. And I think that has to do with just terrible offensive line play, and we couldn't establish the running game. Barkley really struggled. Had a few all right catch and runs, but just no, really just a bad rushing game for him. But I don't put that all on him. I mean, the offensive line was so bad, he'd get the ball and he'd already have like 2-3 people on him before he'd even get a chance to take a step. So like, it was a really rough game. It was really hard, but all the credit to the Steelers. I'm not even super bummed out that we lost. I mean, I should be. I am disappointed in the offense, but I'm actually not too disappointed with the defense, which is sort of the flip I had here. I really expected to come out of this game being like, oh, the offense made some really good plays. Man, that defense sucks. But I think James Bradbury was a really good pickup, and so was Blake Martinez. He had a few moments of but I think he was pretty decent overall, and our line is pretty solid. Our line is like pretty decent, at least against the Steelers. We'll have to see if we have tougher competition with better offensive lines if we struggle there. But really, our defense does seem to have some bright spots, but just so many missed opportunities. And Daniel Jones, he that during that drive, that 97-yard drive, had a lot of really good plays, and I'm like, wow, like he showed so much potential, and that's what was so frustrating about this game was there was potential shown, not only from Daniel Jones but from other defensive and offensive players. There was some potential shown, not only future potential but potential to win this game. And I really thought for a bit that they had an opportunity to win this game, and if they just took the right opportunities, okay, and capitalized off of them, then they probably would have won this game. If they scored a touchdown after that muff punt and then scored a touchdown after on the 97-yard drive, they win the game. So you get what I'm saying? So like this is a very, very, or at least they probably would have won the game. This is a very sort of disappointing factor was they didn't capitalize off of that. And it seemed like when Joe Judge was hired, he said that's something they're going to focus on doing. Now, obviously, I'm not blaming Joe Judge for this loss, but I'm saying he might want to really sort of ring in the fact that we cannot miss these opportunities. That's what makes the Patriots so good, is they capitalize off of every mistake the other team makes, and that's just the genius of Bill Belichick. And I thought that Joe Judge would sort of bring that in here, and maybe he will in the future, but for now, it seems like they really struggle to do that. So missed opportunities, disappointing players, and disappointing plays, just overall, a disappointing game. But the Steelers are a formidable foe, and if you are a Steelers fan, I would be very excited for your team, especially defensively. I mean, you guys, all three phases just are incredible, and you bested our pretty terrible offensive line, and the Giants just ultimately failed. We go after the Bears next week, who also have a really good defensive line and defense, so offensive line really is going to be put to the test for sure next week. But I have a feeling that maybe we'll be able to hold the Bears offense some better than we can the Steelers offense, and then maybe we can just take advantage of some plays. I think Saquon Barkley will have a good game next week too, but I mean, we'll have to see. That's for next week. As for now, just disappointment and generally bummed, I guess. But I guess as always next week, we'll have to see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, there's always next week. There's always next week. And I just hope by week 5, I'm not saying there's always next year. I'm just hoping. That is my 2020 goal.